Good afternoon, everyone. I am Insia Fatima Alwani, and today I am going to present about Industrial Revolution in Hard Times. Here is my personal information about author. Charles Dickens was one of the most famous and successful writers in 19th century. Dickens was born on February 7th February in 1812. Dickens was secured a job as a parliamentary reporter for the Mirror of Parliament. His reputation as a reporter is very famous. He was an essayist, reporter, and editor also. He also known as a Bose. He wrote a series of tales under this name. His notable works: The Pickwick Papers, Oliver Twist, David Copperfield. Uh, Hard Times and Oliver Twist, these both novels are based on industrial revolution. In these novels, he argued about laborers, their situations, and their problems. Introduction of novel. Hard Times for These Times, the novel by Charles Dickens, published in 1844. The novel starts with these dialogues: "In this life, we want nothing but facts." This is the main idea of this novel. This novel shed light on the genuine state life of the poor people that lived during 19th century when industrialization began in England. During Victorian age, industrial revolution and feminism, uh, these two are started in this Victorian age. Hard times take place in the industrial city of Coketown. The city is described as noisy and polluted. Life of working class people. The novelist shows that the industrialists see laborers as hands, not as fellow human beings. For great grind and boundary, the working class is a means of achieving wealth and power. They are treated as objects and always get unfair treatment from the upper class. Stephen Blackpool is a representative of the poor and the underprivileged society of England. Bounderby was the owner of factory and he always treated workers as animals, and he doesn't give respect to his employees which working in bank and factory. And the Stephen Blackpool is a representative of the uh, poor class people. Physical features of Blackpool indicate the poverty is a curse. Uh, Workers working hard for in search of peace and happy life, and these hard works are always these hard work these hard work make a these hard works makes a uh, impression on their physical features. They are not healthier as upper class people. Coketown. The novel setting is a novel set in the Coketown, which is a novelist shows there is as a noisy and polluted town. Coketown is a fictional city. Coketown was inspired by places like Preston, a town Dickens visited right before writing novel. The town has been built to be as economically logical as possible, so there is no need for creativity in its architecture. Cooktown is a hellish place where every buildings are covered with soot. This comes from the coal that is burned to power the factories. None of this seems to be bother the mill owners. The polluted air is a point of pride for them. Strike by laborers. Laborers were treated as like animals. They are working 14 to 15 hours a day. Stephen Blackpool refuses to go to the strike as he doesn't want to increase the problems for the workers. Workers are strike against the factory owner, and the Blackpool believes that the strike is not the best way to improve the relationship between the owners and employee. That's why he denied to join the strike. Stephen defends the workers against Bounderby. Dickens' philosophy is expressed by Stephen when he tells Bounderby that that men are not machines, they too have souls. Uh, Here I try to connect this idea with our contemporary time. We also heard in our time in news channels strike workers are strike against the owner of industry, and they are demanded for their rights. Even this novel is written during Victorian age, but in our time we see that workers are being exploited, and the child labors are also seen in our time. This image I put uh, of bank workers, they are against of privatization of bank. They are strike against our government of India. And another image of Gujarat, uh, Kutch district, they are strike against the owner of the industries. Labor's condition during lockdown. We can see that in our in Corona pandemic that laborers are suffer so much, and our government of India announced the lockdown on 24 March 2020, and this incidents happened in Aurangabad, where workers are died under the train. They After the announcement of lockdown, so many workers lost their jobs, and they decided to went their home, and they are uh, they dead were migrant workers who had fallen asleep on the tracks while attempting to walk to a station from where they were hoping to get a train. After walking for 36 kilometers, they were decided to race. The workers assumed that the trains would not be running because of the lockdown, and therefore slept on the tracks. This novel is written during Victorian age, but same situation we see in our times. Laborers are suffered so much because uh, they are belong from a next class, and they always treated as a like as animal. Here my work citation. Thank you. Now, if you have a question, then ask.
Insia, my question is that do you feel that even today working class people are exploited in multiple ways?
Yes, working class people are suffer today. I mentioned that I give an example of Corona pandemic. They working class people are suffer so much, and industry owners and factory owners always exploiting them because they belong from next class, lower class people.
Insia, how we can help our laborers in present time?
Uh, we can help laborers with increasing education, with helping them, and we also made strict rules of factory workers are not exploiting so much. Okay, thank you.